Yes, I'm going to discuss the alcohol case and tell you this is work that I've been doing in collaboration with a PhD student here at UQ and a member of the centre, Lauren Hayden, and a number of other people. And what I want to do is use the alcohol case to kind of frame more broadly this question of what these automated sequences of ads we see in our feeds look like, and then point you to some of the particular issues that alcohol raises as a commodity that we have a larger public concern in because it's an addictive and harmful commodity, and the public has an interest in understanding and controlling to some degree how alcohol ads are served to Australians. So I want to start off with this kind of historical comparison. There's a very famous study of advertising conducted in the 1980s of advertising in the early 20th century across the 1920s, 30s and 40s. And the historian that did that study, Roland Marchand, assembled a personal archive of advertisements. And we were kind of curious about how many advertisements he assembled in doing his work. And across 2 decades, he made a collection of 180,000 ads and used that to kind of make a historical analysis of the form and the narratives that advertising told Americans during that decade. And I wanted to use that as a historical reference point to say, here we are 100 years on. And in a single year of the Ad Observatory, we collected 280,000 ads just from 2,000 Australians. And then particularly in the case of alcohol, we collected somewhere in the range of 7,000 to 14,000 ads. There's a complicated explanation for the range. It depends what method we use. But there's something going on here culturally where just simply the volume of ads that we've seen has kind of expanded enormously, and the cultural form of advertising has moved from these kind of mass narratives to these extraordinary, voluminous, ephemeral, continuous flows and feeds. So how to think about that? One way we've attempted to visualize this, and this comes from a conversation with Casey Briggs at one of our data jams, is to think about Meta as having this huge database of ads that it could serve any one of us at any moment in time. And then what its automated models do is kind of construct a pathway through for each of us over time. So my pathway might look like this through the ad model. It might sequence my ads into this kind of a pattern. Christine's might look like this, Dan's like this, yours like that, and so on. And so there is this larger kind of cultural universe of advertising, but each of us is kind of being given a kind of pattern of ads over time. And what we need to think about so much is not the targeting of an individual ad in an individual moment, but how in our lives over a day, weeks, months, years, the pattern begins to tune into us and to tune into the kind of consumer we are. With the particular case of alcohol, we were kind of interested not just in who was seeing the most alcohol advertising, but how different kinds of people might be seeing alcohol advertising in different kinds of forms, and how that might tune into their patterns of behavior, maybe their vulnerabilities, maybe their identities. And so we focused on 12 people in this case that I'm going to look at today, who saw the highest proportion of alcohol ads relative to all of the ads they observed. And then we used a tool that we've created called the image machine that helps us look for visual patterns in those ads. So here's one of the participants in our study, and the ads they were seeing. And then we're able to identify clusters of ads where alcohol products are showing up. And what we found as we dug into this is a range of different ways that alcohol advertising starts to look. So here's an older male consumer who we named Bruce. And Bruce sees an enormous amount of wine advertising from wine catalogs and home delivery retail. And this was a really important finding because with products like alcohol, what the Ad Observatory has helped us to understand is that it's not just ads now. The ads are kind of these tappable buttons. They're storefronts. And many of us are seeing certain kinds of commodities, not just in a kind of, would you like to buy it, but more in a kind of buy it now. And with alcohol, that's kind of beginning to get integrated with a kind of rapid home delivery model as well. So that for certain kinds of consumers, they see lots of cheap alcohol being advertised to them at discounted rates that they can purchase and have delivered immediately. So we kind of thought of this as the digital catalog aspect of alcohol marketing. And then when we look at participants like Bruce's sequences of ads, we can start to see how those alcohol ads show up in a larger flow. So Bruce, an older Australian, was seeing lots of ads for supermarket goods, wine delivery, and real estate. That was his kind of, if you like, advertising universe that he was immersed in. We saw other kinds of consumers, though, their alcohol advertising looked different. So this is Tim, and we call this collection an example of the digital display window. So Tim was also seeing lots of alcohol ads that he could tap and purchase. But what we found is that Tim's ads looked much more colourful, much more boutique, much more premium. He was a younger consumer consuming craft beer. And so his ads have a similar kind of catalogue-like function, but the style and aesthetic of those ads look different. And then we also see that Tim's ads often emerge with this larger kind of dark cinematic aesthetic. So his alcohol ads often portrayed alcohol within certain kind of contexts of consumption, the richness, the qualities, and certain features of the alcohol. And then maybe to draw another comparison with Talia, we call this the digital boutique collection, where Talia's ads, the alcohol shows up again, but it shows up as part of this kind of premium, feminized, aestheticized lifestyle, lots of corals, pinks, botanicals, and so on. So our overall kind of observation here is that alcohol advertising, the automated model learns to kind of tune our alcohol advertising, not just to show us different products, but to kind of insert those products into different sorts of narratives about who we are and who we are as consumers. And we need to follow those sequences and think about alcohol within those larger patterns. Thank you. I'll hand over to the next person.